Welcome back to Tenok Talks about the Power Rangers role-playing game. I'm going to see if I can get through 2 Power Rangers today for, their class viability. But if I can't, then the title will reflect that. Today I want to talk about the Red Ranger. I've used him as an example in a lot of my videos up until this point because he is so good and because a lot of people are probably going to gravitate toward him because the Red Ranger is often the main character, so to say, the leader of the group. So a lot of people tend to gravitate toward him or whoever the Sixth Ranger is. So he's very popular. A lot of people are going to want to be him, and there are some pretty powerful mechanical reasons to want to be him too. A lot of people might look at this and say, well, this looks like a D&D paladin because he has strength increases and social increases, but that is more of the White Ranger's thing. And if I have time, I'll go over that. So just ignore the fact that the Red Ranger has social as his second highest stat and his first highest being strength, because the strength abilities are going to far outshine anything he can do with social, and even his social abilities are just combat related and they make other people better. So he's a battlefield commander, but I feel like his bonus to social is just because he's the leader and it's a roleplay opportunity. It's not really a mechanical advantage. So he starts off with light, medium, and heavy armor proficiency. So he's a prime candidate to take the ultra heavy armor feat. Heavy armor gives him +4 to his toughness rating, even before he's selected any kind of armor upgrade, which we're still not entirely sure how that works, by the way. The errata still hasn't come out yet. He starts off with a versatile power weapon, which is just a fancy way of saying you can use 1 or 2 hands. So he tends to have the bigger of the weapons, swords, axes, hammers, whatever you want. I don't know if hammer is actually a thing in this, but theoretically you could make one. So, at first level, he gets to do something called Power Strike. And Power Strike is the main ability that you're going to be using as a Red Ranger. If you spend 1 power point, he gets to add 1 damage to his attacks. And that's a very big deal. Damage is set in Power Rangers. Every weapon does 1 damage. Almost every ability does 1 damage. Except for some alternate fire effects, special abilities, or things like that could do 2 to 5 damage, depending. But most of the time you do 1 damage. So being able to just turn your attacks into something that do 2 damage is a pretty big deal. And that damage buff increases as he levels up. So for the first 5 levels, you're only adding 1 extra damage, but starting at level 6, you're doing 2 extra damage. And then at level 11, 3 extra damage. And then at level 16, 4 extra damage. Now let me put that into perspective for you, because this stacks with another one of his powers extremely well. I'm actually going to talk about it out of order, right? Because like most Power Rangers, he does get an extra attack feature. At 5th level, he can attack twice. But he's the only Ranger that I've read so far that gets 4 attacks. He gets a 3rd attack at level 10 and a 4th attack at level 15. So keep that in mind, remember, as I talk about Power Strike, right? By level 16, he's doing 4 extra damage anytime he spends a power point. And the number of power points he has available to him is 8. So by level 15, you can attack 4 times. So that means for 4 power points, you could attack 4 times, and if they all hit with a weapon that does 1 damage normally, you've done 20 damage. And it doesn't have to be to one target. It could be to different targets, but 20 damage. Guys, Zords can't do that much damage. That's insane. That is so much. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, it's so much. It's level 16. No, listen, guys. 16 damage from one person. No one can do that. Nobody, even at level 16. That's insane. That is so much. And even before it's that much, you're going to be doing double the amount of damage everybody else does your first 5 levels, because most people can only do 1 damage. And at 6th level, it's +2. So you're doing insane amounts of damage. Now, yes, you have to spend power points, but that's not really a limited resource. For the first 4 levels of the game, you only have 2 power points. After 5th level, you have 4. 9th level, you have 6. 13th, you have 8. And by 17th level, you have 10. Now, they come back at a rate of 2 per day, right? So if you have a particularly violent battle, you're going to need 5 days to recover all of your power points, right? But you don't need all of them. Spending 1 power point does 4 extra damage on a hit. That is so much. Like, imagine giving him more abilities, like Iron Hands, that permanently increases his damage by 1, or Ninja Power, which increases his damage by 1 again. Or heaven, heaven help you if you take the Triple Strike feature, where you can attack 3 times in 1 turn. At level 1, you can only do that if you take a Origin that gives you a free perk. But, I mean, seriously, this guy is doing damage. And it doesn't specify what kind of attack. Oh, it has to be a melee attack. That's all. It doesn't have to be a weapon. It could be an unarmed strike. It just has to be a melee attack. That's huge. At 2nd level, he gets Follow Me, which basically means every other member of the team can choose to let you roll initiative, and then their initiative will be based on what you did. So everyone who wants to support you, so say you're a team of 5, and you're like, hey guys, follow me. So you roll initiative. Everyone who supports you in your Follow Me request grants you +1 to the end result of whatever you rolled for initiative. So the 4 other Rangers are like, yeah, let's do it. Let's follow the Red Ranger. They're each going to give you a +1, so you get a +4 to your initiative roll, right? So you roll your d20, you roll +4, or you add +4, and then any skill dice you have in initiative, if you have any in initiative, total it together, and that's when you go first, right? To determine everybody else's place, the other 4 Rangers roll 1d4 and subtract it from what you got, and that's when they go. So you're basically guaranteeing that if the Red Ranger gets a good roll, that you all get good rolls. But if he gets a bad roll, then you're all getting bad rolls. So it's risk-reward, but initiative doesn't usually make a huge difference. It helps a little bit, but I don't know. Somebody's probably going to rip me apart in the comment section for saying initiative doesn't matter that much. Okay, at 2nd level, he gets Weapon Mastery, which means whenever he's using a power weapon, it doesn't. Now, this one does not have to be melee. It does not have to be versatile. It does not have to be heavy. Just anytime he's using a power weapon, and he rolls a 1 or a 2 on his skill die, he can re-roll that 1 or 2. But he has to take the new result, even if it's worse. So he's a lot more accurate with his power weapons than anybody else. So if he rolls the absolute bare minimum, he can roll again. I'm going to ignore when he gets general perks because they all get them at the same rate. Alright, at 5th level, he gets a special attack called Bring 'Em Together. Now, this is an enormous... This attack costs a lot. He spends a power point and readies a contingency action that says, as soon as all of my other Rangers give me their weapon, we're going to combine them and then fire this giant beam, just like in the show. Every other Ranger on their turn has to end their turn next to the Red Ranger. They also have to spend a power point, and they also have to make that same declaration that as soon as all of our weapons are together, we're going to fire. Once every Ranger has done that, so say you have 5 people, the Red Ranger gets to make an attack, a ranged attack, at +2 shifts to do 1 damage per Ranger involved. That's kind of dumb. Like, let's be honest. If there's 5 Rangers on a team, you each could have been attacking and doing 1 damage. Why would you need 1 attack that did 5 damage all at once? Damage reduction isn't the thing in this game so far. I mean, yeah, it gives you a shift bonus, but if you have a Yellow Ranger on the team, they could have attacked 3 times, and you could have done 3 extra damage for the round, and everybody would keep their power point. Well, okay, not in that example, because the Yellow Ranger has to spend a power point to do that, but you catch my drift, right? You can do more damage if you just let people take their turn. I'm not sure why you would ever do this, especially since most people have unlocked their second attack by now, at 5th level. So every ranger attacks twice, doing 1 damage. That's 10 damage. Why would you do this? 5 damage? Everybody has to spend a power point? It's spectacle, I guess. I mean, you as a DM, you could be like, oh, well, the monster can only be destroyed by bringing all your weapons together. I guess you could do that, but mechanically, there's just no reason to do this. I mean, unless your Red Ranger has, you know, very high accuracy and you're pretty sure you can do it, and all the rest of you are having trouble, I guess. But outside of thematic purposes, I don't know why you would ever do this. Okay, at 7th level, he gets something called Resistance. He can spend a power point and roll his athletic skill die. So if it's a D2, he rolls D2. If it's a D4, he rolls D4, right? He reduces all incoming attacks by the amount he rolled on his die. So he spends a power point and he says, this round I'm going to be resilient, which means anybody who tries to hit me is going to have their accuracy reduced by my skill die. Guys, that's a huge deal. That is, my gosh. Now it says, any attack you're aware of, you may choose to spend 1 personal power and roll your athletic skill die. You reduce all incoming attacks by the amount rolled until the start of your next turn. That sounds like when a specific attack you're aware of comes at you, you can spend a power point to add your athletics. But then it immediately says, all incoming attacks by amount rolled until start of your next turn. So does it have to be triggered or not? That's really weirdly written. At 9th level, he gets the Team Focus ability, which means he gets to add 1 shift to any melee attack that targets a target that has already been attacked by one of your teammates. So if someone went... So as long as somebody else attacked that monster on their last turn, you get 1 shift hitting it. This does not cost a power point. This just happens. And at level 18, it becomes a 2-shift bonus instead of a 1-shift bonus. That's pretty good. You're good at killing things that are already damaged. And then his level 20 ability is of course Prime. They all have that. And Red Ranger Prime gains resistance to normal, blunt, and sharp damage, which I think is standard. He gets an additional point of damage on power weapon attacks. Most Rangers get a +1 damage on some niche type of attack. And he gains edge on all strength skill checks. Man, if that includes might, if that includes attacks, wow, that's a big deal. Guys, Red Ranger is extremely powerful. With the right origin and perk combination, you can either be unkillable, a damage monster, or, let's be honest, both. If you want raw power, if you want to pretend like you're a D&D fighter, but like a good one, be the Red Ranger. Stay tuned for more.